Scotty, are you there?
That same thing playing out itself for the last maybe 10 days, 10 years, where Wilson and White, they are back in the race for. They are back in the race.
Are they trying to come back? Are they back or are they trying to come back? You need to phrase that well, you know. Are they really back?
They are back in the race for.
They are back in the race.
Yeah, because they have been nominated to participate in the election, you know, coming up on Thursday. So that means they are back in the race, and they are in contention. So I think one going up for General Secretary, that is White, and Wilson is going up for the Vice President. So you have these are ex-members that have been in the business for a long time, and I find the DOC right now there's a lot of new blood trying to get in. So let me see what happens. I said it is a very
the scriptures say it is counterproductive to put all oil in a new jar.
In your lamp.
So, you know the scripture, right?
Yeah, scripture say that you don't have to put oil in like
a new jar.
In new jar or old lamp. But what you have in Dominica situation is some people like it. They like to leave this thing. Like I don't think it's like some people figure out well at that. It's an estate they live for them and they just figure they have to sit there forever. But I'm saying if you have served your time and you have done a wonderful job, then I mean it would be good for you to bow out and actually pass that experience on to people that want to come in and serve. But sometimes we have a situation in Dominica where people like to hold on to things, you know, and I think the ex-president decided where he figured, well, he can come back there and maybe do another stint. I don't know, hopefully it will be successful. But the present president, which is Mr. Bill Doctor, is saying that he will not serve with those guys. So that's why you have. So
from your knowledge and even the knowledge of the listeners,
yeah,
does that surprise you in any way that Mr. Billy Doctor will decline from participating in an election or sitting on an executive with the past members?
No, I don't think. I don't think he would be that person not inclined to do that, because I know Bill that.
Okay, good evening, guys.
Well, exactly. Because
I bet you forgive Billy.
Good evening, guys.
In 1975, when he was trying to pay for Dominica Reside.
It's not going for because I'm talking.
For a good while, he's a guy that is strictly disciplined.
Okay, good evening, guys. Good evening, guys. Heston and this is on my desk. We just put the green button for it to open wider.
Yes, go ahead, Delvin. Go ahead, Delvin. We can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Pick up caller. I don't know if the caller is on.
Yeah, the caller is on. He's on. Go ahead. Hello.
Yes, good evening. Heston.
Go ahead. Speak on. Go ahead.
Okay then, all right. We just want to say, let's just take one little slight break for some word from our sponsors, and I'll be right back. As you rightfully alluded to, I was out very busy from one sporting activity, and then I wanted to come into this another sporting activity. So I just want to say good evening to our listeners, but I want to ask you to stay tuned, and we'll be right back with some word from our sponsors.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Okay, we say welcome back to another episode of the Sports Connection. I just want to express my gratitude to my co-host. We have Anthony Scotland and Heston Charles both joining us via the Zoom platform. Guys, thank you for holding on for me in my absence. But I also want to inform you that in studios we have with us Mr. Peter Later. Peter Later is the current national champion in table tennis. Am I right, Peter?
No, I'm not.
You're not. But the last time I ran a tournament on the national scene, you were the champion. Right. So there would have been some competition thereafter. Yeah. But also, most importantly, Peter is the recently elected president of the Dominica Table Tennis Association. Peter, good evening.
Good evening, man. UD. Good evening, Anthony Scotland and Heston Charles, and all the listeners out there.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Peter Later.
Good evening, man. Nice to be on with you, man, Heston, man.
It's good to have you. We are in big things about you, eh?
Well, I hope I can step up to the plate.
I felt, your strength was in the Calypso arena, but you're doing other things.
And all wrong there, man.
You're all wrong there.
I know Peter Later has a pigtail, and it's nice to see.
Pigtail.
That's a good thing for Dominica.
Well, certainly.
Well, it's nice. You are the host. I mean, I have a few questions I would like to ask Peter. Well, I suspect you may ask those questions.
Heston. I want him. So if you have a question, you can ask your questions, and I'm sure that I will give you the ample time for you to do that. And we are one team. So you want to shoot the questions, but just let me just wet my feet as we come in, because you guys were already had already taken charge of the program and started the program, because we have a wealth of listeners, and we have some listeners listening on 88.7, some on 93.1, and some on 107.9 FM. And we also have those who are listening on the Kyrie FM's Facebook page. And we have followers this evening. And so we want to say good evening to them. And could you just get us up to speed? So we seem to have a very seamless discussion this evening. So Scotty, just enlighten me on some of the things that you guys will be wanting to discuss. But we also going to be discussing certainly the election of the Dominica Table Tennis Executive Body that happened on Saturday. We're also going to look at the plans that they will be having for table tennis. As a matter of fact, Peter and myself, we just walked in, coming from the stadium where we had the handing over ceremony for 22 table tennis sets that was donated to the government of Dominica through Mrs. Melissa Skerritt, the parliamentary representative of the Roseau Central constituency. And we had this big ceremony at the stadium where the Chinese, the People's Republic of China representatives in Dominica, and that is the ambassador, made that donation. So certainly we're going to be talking about table tennis development on the island. Peter will also be contesting the for one of the positions on DOC's election 2 days from today, right, Peter? Is that on Thursday? It's next week Thursday. Next week Thursday. All right. So the next week Thursday he will be contesting the position. So we will talk about that. And anything else that you guys want to be talking about this evening?
Well, my question would be really surrounding you know, the move by the treasurer to contest election. I have concerns
Okay,
about the way
so we're gonna
it
reserve that
was.
question when we come on that part. But so we'll be discussing that. So we'll have those questions there. And what other area we want us to be discussing this evening? That's for you, Esther. That question
Well,
is for you.
truth is, I can't stay on until the end of. I am not able to stay on until the end of the show. So I would just want to shoot up with this question once I get a feel from Peter later, his views on this recent development surrounding the treasurer of the DOC, who at one point said that he was with the team and he was not contesting, and then suddenly 2 weeks later, we hearing that he's contesting for president, and that for me is clearly unprofessional in terms of administration and committee. You don't undermine your own committee. That for me is clear undermining.
Well, we will bring some discourse and some counter arguments. Certainly we will invite our callers to call and to remind them that the numbers to call if they want to engage us in discussion are 448-7334 if you want to reach us on the local line, and if you want to do so on the overseas line, you could reach us at 305-906-6186. But Scotty, I think to be fair to you, what other discussions that you want to be tabled this evening?
I was looking at I have this DOC on the agenda and also the somewhat West Indies cricket in terms of West Indies, because remember we have a number of series coming up soon against Pakistan, Ireland, England, and we had a very fortunate in the last series there in Sri Lanka. So some of the West Indies cricket also you have under 19, the West Indies have on 19 squad picked to play in a series coming up in the Caribbean soon. You also have the issue of the Pan Am Games where the junior games are taking place. I think Cali, where it is there. Well, a number of Dominicans have been offered opportunities, but it looks like sometimes we have a jinx on Dominica, because everywhere we go something happening. Kayaking had a problem, Kuaf had a problem, and Shanice Hamilton, well, she placed I think 3 for 6 in a race, and there was Dennis Luke. I think this is a guy who doesn't promote a lot, but he looked like he's a very good 800 meters runner. So we have some interesting issues to deal with really this evening.
Okay then, well, so thank you very much. Certainly we'll be looking at the Table Tennis Association. We're going to start because, guys like Peter Layton, they like you said, he is multi-talented, and he can be pretty busy. I know those of us who know Peter is in the Music Lovers band. He plays, and now it's the Christmas season, so I'm sure maybe they are some practicing somewhere there about. He's also in the carnival vibes, and we see there's a camp. Is it a tent? Peter, Stardom tent. Peter is also in table tennis, so it's quite a lot of stuff for Peter later. So let's deal with Peter later on the onset, and then we will thereafter move to the DOC conversation. Peter cannot duck the DOC conversation at all. And then we had the Pan Am game. So let's start. Peter,
Yes,
Saturday was a wonderful day. So give us an idea of what's happening for table tennis, Saturday's activities.
What I want to say, Yudi, thanks for the short notice for this interview. But I'm here. Well, Yudi, what happened on the 26th of June?
Yeah.
I was invited to a meeting at the Privo Cinema, DOC and some members of the table tennis. And what it was about was the DOC was saying that they found that table tennis was at a standstill, it was dead, and they think that it needed to be revamped, and they advised the Table Tennis Association and members that we should maybe put a steering committee together to put things back in place for table tennis and to have an election to elect a new executive. So a steering committee was formed. I was chosen to be the chairman of the steering committee, and we worked, I would say very hard, feverishly, just to get an election in place for table tennis. And Saturday, the 4th of December, was that election day.
But could you give us an idea of Who were the persons on the steering committee?
The steering committee consisted of myself, Damian Serendo, Joel Harris, Philip Allen, Bertnell Richards, Markel Auguste, and Israel Fontaine.
For those persons who are not too cool with the names, Bertnell Richards is a former US Open champion, or
I'm not sure.
Yes,
I know
I
she was a
think she
Guyanese champion from '97 to
and
2005.
should have played in the US Open tournament and performed creditably. I'm almost sure she might have been on the champions. She also was a Guyanese champion, not OECS, but CARICOM champ. You know, she has a wealth of knowledge in table tennis, and she's a teacher
At the State
at the
College.
Dominica State College. Damian Sorrento
Was once a junior champ, well, at Shaika Ishak years ago.
Yeah, and Damian Sorrento is of Asian descent.
Malaysia.
Dominica.
Yeah.
And he's also the manager of the
DCP. Successors.
Then we have Joel Harris.
Joel Harris.
Who, well, I will tell persons I was exposed to Joel's participation in the process of moving from steering committee to hand over to an elected executive. And I can say she has a wealth of knowledge and her approach is tremendous. As a matter of fact, I see Joel, I'm one of the persons who believe in diversity in sports. And when I'm talking diversity, I'm not just talking culturally diverse, I'm talking about gender diversity. And I thought she would have been a wonderful addition to the table tennis executive, because I saw Joel as bringing to the DOC in the future some form of stability and some form of resolve. So when we met with challenging situation like is existing now, she could have lent her professional advice and approach to it, and I could see it. I mean, kudos to Joel for having to manage the processes. Although you were the chairperson, but during the interaction as the secretary, I think she did a tremendous job. All right, and you also spoke of Israel
Fontaine.
Israel Fontaine, who is a pharmacist by profession.
In sports, in the Kalinago territory.
Well, certainly he's an administrator for sports in the Kalinago territory. So, Markel Auguste, current champion, schools champion.
High school champion, yeah.
All right, so you had a wealth of knowledge. But what would be some of the challenges that you probably would have met? And my co-host, even if you're not physically in the presence with us, but you are there with us. If you have any questions, I would like you to throw it out at Peter. But what are some of the challenges that you probably would have met during the steering committee's effort into making or into giving us a functional DTCA?
Well, the major challenge we had at first was we had no paper trail to work with. So it's like we started from scratch. We had no idea who members of the association. There was nothing to work with. So we had to come up with our own ways in how we're going to handle things. So you were present at that meeting on the 2nd of November when we had a forum for around 34 people online for that meeting, and what we had to do for that meeting was to pass something to make everybody present at the meeting be members of the association, to adopt a constitution to go forward. So it was, in that sense, it was very challenging.
Yeah, I was pretty much surprised, really.
Yes.
When I learned of that absence of information, and that speaks to sports administration. And in this day and age, how do you, as the current president, create change so your successors in the future, say for example, God forbid, there's some form of dormancy that would succeed you in terms of the table tennis? What how do I say? What administrative procedures would you put in place so that what had happened in the past does not repeat itself?
Okay, well, what I can say, a simple situation, the table tennis constitution says you have to be nominated to go up for elections 14 days before the election date. Members of the table tennis, members of table tennis said that cannot work. It can only be done from the floor on the day. I said, but what is so difficult about that? I mean, the steering committee, we just put things together, and 14 days before the date of election, we had the nominations in our hand. It happened. I don't feel it was any rocket science. It happened. So, I mean, as of now, as we speak, I have over 50 membership forms that were filled out by members of table tennis. So we already have a start to show, well, I know who already are around 55 members. Their phone numbers, email address, everything about them. So we have already started on a good foot.
So basically the process is going full speed.
Full speed.
Full speed. I like that. But in terms of being able to access, I mean, we have stakeholders in sports. And if I were to just mention some of them, the sports division, for example, the Dominic Olympic Committee. I mean, it should not be hard in the future that you as or somebody wants to be able to look at continuity in the absence of a functional executive board at that particular moment. Those stakeholders, I mean, do you think that we should be able to provide entities like the sports division or the Dominic Olympic Committee with that kind of information, so in the future somebody wants the constitution, they could get it in a legitimate place?
Well, today I was at the DOC office, and it was suggested that maybe table tennis would get a spot there with a filing cabinet, a place that we could do our work and file all our documents and so on.
But in that shouldn't be unique to table tennis.
I'll fight for it. I will fight. Whoever wants it has to fight for it.
Certainly, I mean, one of the challenges that we have in our local setting is the availability of a secretariat.
Yes.
You understand, and I'm sure, and maybe the idea could be, as a matter of fact, I share an experience with you. When I was elected president of the Dominica Amateur Basketball Association, I remember contacting the people at NEP for somebody to work in the secretariat, because my job required me to be very active for my work during the course of the day, and so some of the administrative processes that needed to take place, it was difficult, and so the need for a secretariat was right there. And I remember applying for an employee under the NEP program, and the NEP was willing to provide it. All we needed was a space for the individual. And so Billy Dokchov, in his forward way of thinking, was able to get such a massive building and for the DOC. And if they are lending space for persons, for organizations, well, when I say organizations, I mean associations and member federations, to have at least a filing cabinet at the DOC, that is 2 thumbs up for that kind of administration. So those kind of documents that we're talking about that were not available, minutes to suggest who are the members, a constitution to guide the operation, I think that would be tremendous. All right. Scotty Heston, do you have any questions with regards to the table tennis?
I have a question, but what I'm finding out is like a lot of people they actually volunteer to be elected or nominated to be part of these committees. But we have too many dormant associations in Dominica. I mean, that is, you have an executive that it rule and it function. You have different positions, and people have their responsibilities. Secretaries, you have the treasurer, you have the president, vice president, and those sort of things. PROs. And one other thing I'm seeing that these committees usually quite a lot of them are weak. So that is an area that we need to really strengthen in terms of the administration of this association. What I would like to ask Peter is, what are some of his plans for revamping the sport of table tennis in Dominica? Because I mean, it has been at a very low level in terms of its participation and recognition in our discussions when you come to sports. So, Peter, I think your work is cut out for you. In terms, you have gotten an injection from the Chinese in terms of your table tennis set. So, we would like to see what are some of the programs that you have to push that sport in the Commonwealth of Dominica.
Okay, well, I mean, for the longevity of any sport, we have to start with the youth. So we must start off in the schools. So the 22 boards that we got today, I think would go a long way. I hear they're going to be distributed for the schools. So training, we'll have to get some of our members to go to different schools to train, get the sport back in schools. Then one of the first things we have to do is maybe have a competition, a tournament for ranking. When there's a ranking, people work hard. You want to see yourself get up, there to as close to number one as possible or number one. Then we want to bring back the business tournaments. Actually, as we speak, the Swinging Stars band has been the table tennis business champions for 2 years. The last 2 years they had the competition. Swinging Stars won. So we're still currently the business champions. So we want to bring that back. And I mean, we have a membership in table tennis, vibrant. We have guys in Portsmouth willing to work with the youth. We have guys in Marigot willing to work in the Kalinago territory. So I see a great future for table tennis. And I had a talk with Melissa, not official, Melissa Skerritt today, and also Oscar George, he called me. So let's hope that things will be looking bright for the sport in the future.
But if I should interject, I happen to be the officer responsible for the organization of the table tennis at the school level. And I can tell you, what we've seen in the sports division programs includes a period during the course of the year where all students at the schools are engaged in table tennis development, even if in the absence of the board as PE.
Okay.
And so we have an after-school program where, leading up to the table tennis competition, we will have a district competition among the primary schools to qualify for the National Schools Championship.
Okay.
In team events. And then when the National Schools Championship, we had the team events and the Open Singles Championship. And we also had the same for secondary schools, but we do not have the district competition for the secondary school. So there is already a vibrant school activity. And so what we're saying is not just the Portsmouth area and Marigot, and as a matter of fact, for the first 16 years of the school's table tennis championship, the W.S. Stevens would have won the boys' competition.
Okay.
For the first 16 years of the school consecutively. Now what we find is the Cynical Primary School is winning. We now find the Daly's Primary School.
Okay.
And that is because of the efforts of the UU sports officers with the after-school program training. So, but what we welcome, and I was happy that you mentioned it, is the willingness of the association to get the coaching, the formalized coaching, because you guys would have had the expertise in terms of developing the sport. And so we welcome that kind of a vibe. But the spread is wider than the Marigot,
Okay.
Kalinago territory, and the Portsmouth area.
I'm learning something today.
All right, because the Baroness Patricia Scotland Primary School, the past 2 years, or 2 years ago, the champion female was from that school. All right, in Britannia Augustine. So it's kind of distributed. We've now seen quality in the Caleb Laura Primary School. We see some of it in the Massac Primary School. We see some coming from the south, in the Bellevue School, Grand Bay School, for example. So when we see this participation, so what we have to think of that community spread now, how we can develop it at the community level.
Okay. Well,
So
we
it's
have
not
to
just
talk,
those.
man.
Yeah, we certainly need to talk
We have to
about
talk.
it, because the schools, the opportunity and the spread for table tennis is tremendous. As a matter of fact, Jim would have been in the program when I first started with the sports division. So a lot of the talents, the Dane Taylors that you're seeing in table tennis, they actually have passed through the school's table tennis program. And that is something that, even in spite of COVID this year, we had a table tennis. As a matter of fact, most of our competitions were shelved, but table tennis was played.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to take some word from our sponsors, and we will be right back. Oh, we have a caller. Let's take this caller. Caller, welcome to the Sports Connection. Good evening.
Good night, Mr. Yuri.
Yes, good evening.
Good night, Mr. Scotty. And good night, Mr. Peter later.
Good night.
We also have Heston.
Heston, good night, Heston. I apologize, Heston. Good night. I want to, first of all, congratulate Mr. Later for his presidency.
Thanks.
And I want to let him know that table tennis was a vibrant thing in the 80s and 90s and going down. Very vibrant.
Actually, in the 60s, 50s
Yeah,
too.
very vibrant. You had the fire station. You had access to the fire station. You had access to the police station. You had access to grammar school. That was a very vibrant thing going on in grammar school, and where they had the hostel. Very vibrant. You had one at Fort Coley. You had one at Deliverance Baptist. So you had several boards at certain places that you could just walk in and do what you had to do. And they were very strong table tennis players at that time. The police officers, the fire officers, they were very strong and very good. So, I just want to tell Mr. Layton, well, your job is caught up for you. And I believe you have the talent, and you have the talent to do that. I don't want nothing less from you, man. I know you're a good guy. You have determination. You prove yourself in several areas, so I don't want nothing less. But I want you to concentrate on bringing the table tennis to the primary school and the high school and the community development business. You can deal with the people, the actual people in the village, the council, to get the boards going down. Okay. The basic thing you have to do is to get the several boards in different communities where you can have access to it. In all villages, you can have boards there. As a matter of fact, the Chinese are some of the top table tennis players. So as a matter of fact, Dominica dealing, the government and Dominica, the Chinese government dealing. So there was no all you have to do as a president is to write to the Chinese people or the government, through Chinese people. You'll get a lot of assistance because they have equipment. They have a lot of equipment in China. I mean, in China they teach people table tennis. So in other words, you can have a crew to send to China to train people here, right here. This guy very skillful when it comes to backhand and you can't beat the Chinese like that, So I telling you, Mr. Later, well, you're making voodoo on the pot, so I think you should make voodoo in the table tennis. And I like the name Pigtail,
Okay.
Pigtail must be good in broth everywhere.
All right, then, caller. Thank you very much.
So I give you all the blessings and work fast.
I'll try my best, or we will try our best.
No, don't try. That trying thing is for baby. Anything you don't want trying, a baby trying to walk, as soon as you start to walk, that's it. You will never see that. I do blessings for you and everything I do for you in that stuff.
All right, then, caller. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right, and bless you.
I love Pigtail.
All right, and blessings, bro. Okay, on this note, we'll take some word from our sponsors and we'll be right back.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Okay, so we want to say thank you very much for those of us who are following us on the Facebook Live. We want to say thank you for staying tuned. Those of us who are listening on 88.7, 93.1 or 107.9 FM, the Genuine Songs of Dominic Kakari FM, we say thank you for staying tuned in with us. Now, Peter, I know you want to run, but before you run, I need to ask you that. Very often, and it was mentioned, I think, by the PS this evening, that we don't have a heart of gratitude too much. And the Chinese has been contributing to our development infrastructurally and otherwise, educationally and otherwise, and very much. But yet still their society almost, I don't want to use that word in a bad context, but almost alienated. And seeing that table tennis or ping pong for them is we have a call on the line. Let's take this caller. Caller, welcome to the Sports Connection. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening to Mr. Later
Good evening.
and the rest. Mr. Later, I want to hear a little more about table tennis, and then I hoping that you can really do what you can do while you're executive. I can say what you, but you as a leader and your executive will do as much as you all can. Now, I mean, I'm expecting to hear a lot more from you, but sometimes the host talk more than the guest, you know. But where do you plan to have your practice sessions? Have you already sorted out a spot?
Well, actually, right now, as we speak, that's our greatest challenge: venues for table tennis. Because as you know, other sports you could just go outside and play basketball, play football, but with table tennis, you need the correct setting, you need correct light. We can't have any wind because we have a very light ball that we play with, so we have to get an enclosed place. So and a place that's big enough to hold maybe multiple boards. So that's our greatest challenge now, looking for venues.
Okay.
So as soon as we get that, we can start moving forward. But
Yeah.
as we speak, I'm in discussion with some places, and we have some places in mind.
Okay.
So within the next 2 weeks
So crazy, we have a spot at Crazy Coconut. Maybe we can
at
ask
Crazy Coconut.
to utilize. Yeah, I don't know if there would be a contribution for the use of the place. Or
Okay.
if you're looking at a school compound, maybe sometime. Now we had a spot in Baffin State. which
Baffin
was
State.
occupied by an individual that cannot be removed.
No, but I hear it is vacant now.
It's bigger now.
It's vacant.
It's vacant now. Okay.
I'm not
then
sure
you
how true
have
that is,
the-
but I was told so.
You know, so because I also looking at maybe you all can also have the materials to be able to sell to the public who is interested. Now, people like me in my age group, would there be, after you all settle down, a spot is organized, would there be competitions among age groups?
Yeah, we can have that. Actually, just the other day, my father and his friends were at my home. I have a board at home, and all my father's friends play table tennis.
Exactly, it's because
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it as a form of recreation as well as a stress reliever as well.
It is.
You know, so I looking forward where I myself want to come to take a little sweat.
Where do you live?
I live in the outskirts of Roseau, there's Castle Comfort there.
Castle Comfort.
So I'm hoping that I can be able to participate. I would love to. It's a game that I like. You know, and as I say, it helps you. It's also a sport that keeps you a little fit because you have to be sometimes.
Yeah, actually, table tennis is the fastest reflex sport.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
I'm looking at my age group and people are interested. Well, you just mentioned your father who would want to participate where you have various ages of groups of people. When you all settle down, can have a little competition among ourselves.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward, and I hope as the sport will grow and we will not have the turmoil that we're having in other associations. So let you all keep your head positive and let's see how far we can get with the revival of that sport.
Okay, thanks. We will, man.
Yes, and you have my support.
Okay, thank you, caller.
Okay.
Okay, God bless you and have a good evening. Yes, Peter. So before the call, I was asking the question, as it relates to embracing the Chinese community.
Okay.
How do you see it as? How feasible do you see it for us to have a competition just for the Chinese community?
Actually, that was a discussion not too long ago within our executive, having a competition for Chinese. They'd also have a local competition. And then we could have a joint competition mixed with Chinese and locals. And then maybe have teams, Dominicans versus Chinese, you know?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, some years ago, the former president,
Antoinette Mora.
she brought me up to the Chinese embassy that in Mount Daniel,
Yeah.
and they had a board at the bottom, and I played against some Chinese, and then the master came down, and when he arrived, the other Chinese started clapping, so I knew I had my work cut out. But I would not say how that game went.
You got 11 of.
No, it wasn't that bad, but he killed me.
So tonight's exhibition at the stadium, where the embassy's representative was playing. As soon as you started to play, I started to see the table tennis culture.
Yes.
Emanating from him, and then you beat him. I think what was his what the final score?
Maybe 11-5.
11-4, 11-5.
5, something like that.
All right. So that was your revenge beating.
Yes.
All right, callers. The numbers to call are 448-7334. If you want to call us on the local line, or you can reach us at 305-906-6186 as we engage Peter later, the recently elected president of the Dominica Table Tennis Association. Now, Peter, tell us about your executive, your current executive.
But you know what I want to say? I have no fear for table tennis in Dominica right now. I have an executive. It's myself as president. I have Cornelius Timothy, vice president. We have Annika Bong Clifton as secretary. Devon Prince as treasurer. Larissa Dover as assistant secretary treasurer. And we have Dean Taylor and Jolly Lewis as the members. Now, some people said that I had a team. Maybe at the end of it all, it became a team. But for that group to come together, UDI called people all over asking questions about the members of table tennis, because I personally wasn't really a member of the association, you know. So I made calls and I carefully handpicked the people on that executive now. I mean, thank God all of us won our positions, you know. So I can tell Dominica that removing me, the other 6 are vibrant youngsters, you know. So parents, students, children, I think we make children. Maybe some women have miscarriages before they have their first child, you know. And then you see your first child with some talent, and you put all the effort as a parent to put your child into a sport. We, as the executives, we have to appreciate that, and we have to respect these parents and respect children. And we, as executives, we have to do the best we can for these children to bring them up to par. I mean, we can't think of ourselves, and my road leading up to the presidency in having talks with different people, and even that whole DOC, quote-unquote DOC talk. Boy, UD, I don't know, in some instances it's sad. It's sad. The way executives behave. And I just want to tell people out there that the table tennis executive will not follow suit. We will do the best we can for the people who play this sport. Everything we do will be for the people who play this sport and not for ourselves.
Okay.
That's a guarantee.
Let me just take on that note, take one of the messages from the Facebook Live that is saying, I am glad that the sport is being revived and I know it is in good hands. And I think that follower is expressing the same sentiments that you are expressing. I feel confident. There were some persons who contested the election I thought would have brought some good expertise. Like, for example, Alvin Abraham, he lost the election. When he contested the general secretary position.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
He lost by one vote.
Is you serious? That could have been that. that could have been that could have been a good addition to the table tennis association.
If you call Alvin, I had a talk with Alvin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But then Alvin told me he was traveling. I think he couldn't be traveling for some months in December, you know. And then, so we were not sure what we should do about him. But I know he's a good man.
Yeah, certainly. And,
I know he's a good man.
I mean, that is expertise. I've worked with him as an individual. I mean, he managed the Windward Island School Games team, of which I was a part for at least 4 years. And working to him, he has some real expertise. But on that note, the DOC mentioned, I'm gonna ask a question. Did the DTTA nominate any persons to participate at the DOC? Yes, Scotty, you were asking a question as well? Scotty?
Yeah, I had a disconnection a while ago. Yeah, I was getting some interruption, but it's back. I am back on. I only do. The question I have for Peter is like, where go to DOC? I would like to see maybe this first.
Scotty, you're breaking up. Scotty, you're breaking up badly. So if you could type the question, I will ask it to I'll ask him for you, because you're breaking up badly.
Okay.
All right. Yes, Peter. So I was asking, did the DTTA nominate anybody for the DOC election?
Yes, the DTTA did that. They nominated me to go up as a member, and Alvin Abraham to go up as the assistant
Secretary Treasurer.
Secretary Treasurer.
You know, I wish honestly that Alvin Abraham could form part of the DOC, because I mean I spoke of the calm and resolve of Joel Harris. He has that equal calm.
Okay.
He's very calculating, very reflective in his thinking and his approach to things and for sports, and I want to commend that. But what is your position? I recognize you mentioned there was a team in place. You had a team that was carefully selected, and eventually all of them who were voted in out of the many members that voted. 44 members voted.
43.
43 members voted. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to the Sports Connection. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. I'd really like to congratulate Mr. Lisa
Okay, thanks.
for at least reviving the sport of table tennis. I'm a mother with children. I play table tennis, and my son is one of these executive members, and I'm so glad that the sport is being revived.
Okay.
But only one thing I would like that, when competitions are things are held, that it is decentralized, because in the North have a lot of table tennis players.
Okay, well, caller, actually just today, I'll tell you, I had a short talk with Honorable Douglas, and he was telling me about the community center in Granville. Is that right?
Yeah.
And he told me we can maybe look at there as a venue for table tennis, and it could hold around 6 boards, I think he told me. So you never know, maybe sometime in the future, maybe competitions might be held up there.
Yes, okay, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, but who's your son?
Jalil.
Oh, Jalil.
Yeah.
Okay, nice child, man. He was by me on Sunday.
Yeah, maybe I can all learn too,
after his victory. All right, man.
Anyway,
all right, thank you very much, caller. And God bless you. Yeah. So we're talking about the DOC.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, what do you make of? You were talking about teams. You formulated a wonderful team. We have a next call on the line. Caller, welcome to the Sports Connection. Good evening.
Good evening, Judy.
Yes, good evening.
You know, I just want to tell the president that right now you have to have a serious registration drive. You have to look at the north, the east. There's a lot of players out there.
Yes.
You have to go on a drive, meet the people, go to the schools, the primary schools, the high schools, have a talk with the parents in the district, different district, north, south, east, and west. You know, and you can't sleep on you. You have to be quick and look at people. There are people that know a lot about table tennis, and there are people that can give you good advice. You have to look for people that can give you good advice, and there are a lot of them outside there. So you have to pick them out. Go in enough, go Portsmouth. Seek the people that can give you good advice. Don't listen to people that will let you drag your feet. And there's I telling you, under your wing, under your watch, table tennis can explode in the biggest thing. And it's not a thing you have to. It's not a thing it's like a cricket field or you need.
Yes.
You just need there are certain places like look, Mr. Douglas give you an idea already. There's the thing in Portsmouth where it can hold 6 boards. So you have to look at areas. As a matter of fact, you can ask the fire station. They have an area where they play inside there. The police station have an area where we used to play when we were younger. So the grammar school, you can look at the grammar school. There's areas in the grammar school, and you can set up boards in the grammar school. I know that. So in other words, now your work is caught up for you, but it can happen very fast.
I'm up to the challenge, man.
Yeah, man.
I have a nice crew behind me. Nice crew.
You don't have to wait for government for you to write organizations. As I tell you, the Chinese have a wealth of equipment, and you have to look for the good boards there, good rackets, good boards, good equipment.
Yeah.
You don't look for mediocritic equipment. You look for good equipment. There's a lot of areas. You know, you can start them with the hard boards, the smaller ones, the primary school, and you can go from there, you know. But you have a good crew, eh?
Yes, I do.
I'm telling you, you have a
I
good
know,
crew. and
I
my
know so.
brother,
I know so.
I give in the crew my blessings. When I used to be in the fire station, police station, I used to put licks on them police and firemen. You know.
What year are you talking about?
Man, I used to all in the 80s, 90s, coming up 1995.
If it's in 90s, I used to be there, you know.
Maybe I can't remember you. I don't remember you.
You played with Gingerbread and Benji.
Yeah, man, all those guys.
Chalu, Fube.
The Fube brothers. The Fube brothers were very good, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Actually, as you mentioned Fube, before Fube passed, Fube used to come to my home every Sunday for years, and we play together. So actually, when he passed, we actually did the double champions at the time.
And I'm telling you, table tennis is a very fantastic sport. It helps you use your brain.
Yeah.
You have to play smart for you to win. And through the months that you practice is very important. You have to practice all the time. As you practice more and more, you get better. And once you have a good eye, you're good to go. So I'm telling you, that's going to be the biggest thing. It don't want to take long, and I prophesy that to you know. Table tennis is going to be the biggest thing. Once all is serious.
Yeah.
And I giving you all my blessings, my brother. But all you must have a game for 50 and up and around 45
but
down.
50 not far, you know. 50 not far.
You know what I mean? So you have to have different categories, 50, 60, blah, blah. It's a very easy game, you know, to play and to adopt. You know,
Okay, caller.
Yes, man.
Yeah, we thank you for those ideas.
Yeah, man.
We love those ideas. Thank you very much.
So I longing to see that quick thing happen, that the different spot only put different boards. We only put it Buffet State over area too, you know.
Yes, Buffet State, the community center.
Yeah, they have area there, man.
All right.
Put boards all over the place. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, man.
Great.
Okay, so we're talking about teams now in sports administration. So what do you think of the team? What do you think of the team concept when they contest the election at the DOC?
Yudi, I became.
Oh, let me
I became president.
Oh, let me
on Saturday.
Oh, let me simplify the question.
I became president on Saturday. I now have to go and meet with my executive, and we have to discuss the members we see on the DOC first to decide what direction we're going in there.
No, and that's nice democracy rather than a unilateral decision.
Yes, before I cast my vote, the entire table tennis body will know where table tennis will be voting.
Wow. I like a whole lot for a call on the line. Caller, welcome to the Sports Connection. Good evening. Sorry, we lost that call. Caller, you could try to call back. Yes, let me tell you, 2 thumbs up for that. Because you're not representing yourself as an individual. When you go and vote at the DOC, you will be representing the table tennis body. Caller, welcome to the Sports Connection. Good evening.
Good evening. Let me firstly congratulate Peter on his on taking on the role of president.
Thanks.
Hearing some of his plans, it just renewed my interest in table tennis, so I might try a little thing again.
you haven't got to go far, man.
I have to go far. Just
walk up the road, man.
Yeah, but through that again, I always feel that each community should have some sort of center where, at least in the community itself, nighttime, we can go take a quick sweat, and at the same time just keep somebody, young, middle age, and mature people occupied.
Yeah.
I like the plans they have in terms of the starting from the youth. I think that's where it all starts, and the fact that you mentioned the program in the schools. I think it would be wise that Peter link with you, get an understanding of the structure, and see how the association can work with you, collaborate, and just add value to it. So I know Peter and executive will do well.
Thank you, Doc.
But I'll just say
quickly, I want to mention the Olympic, the DOC coming up, which you're making a very important point that when whoever goes there as a delegate should be guided as to who they should vote for and what. But one thing I was really disappointed when I saw the names of Mr. Wilson and Mr. White appearing as nominated members. I'm trying to figure out the association to recommend them. Don't they know what's going on?
Well, Doc, I'll be frank.
Following up the things before and so.
I'll be frank, and these gentlemen, they would have made contribution to sports development in Dominica, and if they feel like they still have to offer, then so be it. I will never join in defense of these individuals. But then if they want to...
one aspect. Right now, there is a controversy. There's a matter under investigation where the present association has to pay some money. You don't know, because they have to pay that money, it's going to impact on their possible contribution to the various groups. So to me, I appeal to their conscience. Whatever contribution they have made is noted. But the fact is, because of the controversy that they were embroiled in,
they shouldn't
I
go.
do not think it's wise that they themselves should have accepted nomination. But that's my view. It's up to their conscience. But life after all.
Yes, Doc. Okay. But to be fair to those individuals, if they have not been charged for doing anything illegally, then that's the nature of democracy. So it's a democracy. I just think persons are you still there first, Doc? I just think persons should be cognizant of what's happening in the world of sports and make the best decision. Yes, Peter, but you're making a very, very good point, and I want to commend you for that, and that is seeking the mandate from those you represent as to who you're going to vote. And I think the other associations should take that.
Yes.
Yeah, Rudy.
Yes, you're there.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Peter, I know we discussed that, whether he have plans to bring about a sort of regional tournament in table tennis in the region, in the sub-region, like the OECS or the Wilmot Islands. After you have executed a championship, a national championship, I think it will be good to start bringing that sport, while you have more competition among players. So that is an area I think he can add to his strategic plan for the next 2 or 3 years.
Okay, as Peter think about an answer for that, we're going to take some break from our sponsors and we'll be right back.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
We say welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. And for those of us who are listening on 88.7, 93.1, and 107.9, we say thank you for staying tuned with us. And those of us who are following us online, we say thank you for participating in the discussion and listening. And Peter, we have a comment from an individual that says, Mr. President must have the business houses in Dominica sign up to play table tennis. For example, Kyrie Flow, Digicel, Custom, Dasper, GBS, and others, even if their children make their sport big, Mr. Peter. make this sport big, Mr. Peter.
Yeah, but
And
that's what you were saying earlier, the business tournament. So
all right. So that is Peter responding to this comment here from one of our followers.
coming soon, coming soon.
All right then. We're gonna hold you up for that. But Peter, I should tell you, yeah. At one point in time, we have so many boys and girls in the primary schools competition that the time that we have for the competition on a daily basis, we have to restructure it. Sometimes you have 105 boys, 107 boys, and 87 girls in the primary school open singles competition.
Okay.
So close to 200 students actually participating. So your work is cut out for you. All right. So when we used to do that, we could not finish the competition in the amount of time in the 2 days of competition, because actually we take a week to do the competition, 4 days in a row of competition, Tuesday to Friday, and that usually happens in February. And just at the primary school level, we had to rethink it, and now we have in the district competition where they do team events, and the winners of each district could now qualify, because when we had so many teams, it was impossible to finish.
Okay.
So you have your job called out for you for table tennis development in Dominica.
I'm ready. We are ready. The executive is ready.
The executive is ready.
Yeah. But we have a chat group with the table tennis members, and the conversation that we have in there is brilliant. I mean, the level of thinking, I think the members we have going to make my job and the job of the executive very easy. We have a vibrant membership, a vibrant executive. I hope he's a vibrant president.
Well, I can say that so far, from June to now, so far he's been a vibrant president.
The president, okay?
Yeah, but well, first you were the chair of the steering committee, and now you are elected president. But you missed the question from my co-host.
Which one?
And he was asking about Dominica's participation possibility for regional competitions.
Well, what I can say, in 2017, I was national champ, and I got a chance to go to Guadeloupe for competition. And in Guadeloupe, I met French Guiana and Saint Lucia, and I spoke to the guys there. And apparently, table tennis is going through challenges in not only Dominica but other places, you know. And so I'm in contact with the guys in Saint Lucia, and we spoke. I told them as president, you know, and that we have to make something happen, and they embraced the challenge. So I can't tell you about OECS tournaments, but maybe we might have some exchanges when things get on stream.
When things get better.
Yeah.
Just pray for the COVID thing to get better.
Yes. And what I can say, from that same tournament I went to, Dominica is not far behind in the level of play. I mean, with a little training, I think we can be competitive in the region.
Certainly. I mean, Dominica's talent, I look at our competition. Like I said to you, I'm very exposed to the youth talent that we have. And I sometimes would have looked at Sportsmax in the past and look at what Jamaica would offer. And I would tell you frankly, Dominica have talent that is comparable and sometimes better than what I ever see on TV sometimes.
Okay.
You know, it's just that we have to give our youth the exposure. And once you mean well, and you look to see where the opportunities are, and you expose them, I think we have a government which is very supportive of a sport in Dominica, and particularly table tennis. You were part of the experience this afternoon. 22 boards being circulated into the sporting atmosphere, and all because of the efforts of the Honorable Melissa Skerritt, and the government of Dominica, by extension, in collaboration with the People's Republic of China. And so the government is making things happen. I will tell you, we had some issues this year. Usually, you alluded to it earlier, we play the competitions in indoor so we could control the environment, the conditions. And the government of Dominica is so interested in the youth participation in the sport that when we had some challenges this year with our venue, that we were able to run the competition at the stadium in the open space. recognizing the conditions is not the best, but also recognizing the value of our youth and the opportunity, the value of the opportunities that we provide for you. And so we had this competition there. So with the government's push, I think we could make things happen.
We can make things happen.
We can make things happen. All right. But you have to go, as you pointed out earlier, that you're very busy individual. Any final words?
Yes, well, what I want to say that executive business is new to me. Well, in sports, I think it's new to the executive. Table tennis has a vibrant membership. Our greatest challenge now is that I feel the executive now we're starting from scratch. We have no venue to work from, we have no money to work with. So we're really starting with nothing. But I just want to tell the membership and Dominica that your executive, table tennis executive, is going to do everything to link up with the government of Dominica, the Chinese, the DOC. We're going out to the private sector to do whatever it is to help table tennis in Dominica. Table tennis is a sport, it's not like cricket, basketball, football, where you have a long season. A tournament could take place in 1 day, 2 days. So we're asking the private sector, 1 day we can have a competition, a tournament, whatever business you own, just sponsor the tournament. I don't think it would be thousands and thousands of dollars. I think it would be affordable. And maybe we can make something happen every month or every 2 months in Dominica. Bring table tennis back on stream. And let's just work together for the sport of table tennis. And just letting the table tennis membership know that your executive will be working hard for you guys. Hard. We'll do everything in our power. I think we have started off on a good note already. Coincidentally, we got 22 boards just after our election, so let's see how we can work together to make things happen.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was Peter Later. Peter, thank you for joining me on such short notice. All right, and I will tell you the reason why you're here is because you're a good president, because you recognize that you needed to say thank you to the various persons who would have voted for you, which you did, and you wanted to articulate to the general public of the new energies that have been fueled into table tennis in Dominica and by the callers. And I like one of the caller who said to me that the host speaks more than the guest. I appreciate that comment because it gave me an opportunity to reflect. And I could sense his support for the sport and the passion for the sport. I also live in the Castle Comfort area, so I would have loved to meet with him so maybe we could plan some stuff for table tennis because I like this idea of the Crazy Coconut Place. All right, so what you are doing now, the world is up, the Dominican population is appreciating it, and I appreciate it. So I say thank you for re-energizing the sport at national level. So because the mandate of the sport is to develop the sport in the communities, and you can see that the community is behind you, Peter. So thank you. It was a pleasure having you, and we're hoping that we could engage you in the future.
Yeah, man. Really, thanks for having me.
All right, then. Blessings.
Okay,
Scotty, you were saying something, Scotty?
Congratulations on the new position. And I wish him well, and I wish the association all the best so that we can see this sport grow. I like to see sport that grow. Too many dormant associations in we need to do something.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
All right, then. Okay, so on this note, we'll take some word from our sponsors and we will be right back.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Okay, we say thank you for staying tuned in with us. We just saw the exit of the president, the newly elected president of the Dominica Table Tennis Association, Mr. Peter Later. And we have Scotty, you wanted to talk to us about the Pan Am Games. Heston was asking a very salient question, and that relates to the Peter, the former treasurer, and that is Barry Kazimi, Dr. Barry Kazimi, deciding to go up against Billy Doctorow as president of the DOC. Scotty, what do you make of that?
Yeah, well, as you
okay, Scotty, let me ask you a question.
Problem DOC.
Scotty, the Zoom, the Zoom call is showing that your bandwidth is low, and then we're getting a little bit of echo from you, and we lost in some of your words. Would it be possible that you join us on the phone?
Which from the phone?
If you could just call in, call in, so we could spend the last 6 minutes on the phone.
Okay.
All right then. Yeah, so we're just waiting to be joined by Scotty on the phone, because the internet connectivity is kind of being a little bit troublesome, and that is some of the woes of technology. But yes, we saw the list of names, or maybe 20-something names vying for various positions on the DOC, and interestingly, we saw Barry Kazimi, Dr. Barry Kazimi, opting to go up against Billy Doctorow, and just to provide some perspective, a different perspective. I think when an executive body is disbanded, or what we refer to as in national politics, they dissolve the house. When the executive body is dissolved, and as we go into the phase of election, in a democracy, anybody can vie for position, especially in that setting. So if Dr. Barry Kazimi thinks he is competent, or he can bring something to the table as it relates to better administration, then so be it, and we should be able to welcome, and that is the nature of democracy. As a matter of fact, Dr. Barry Kazimi argued that while Billy Doctorow probably would have not drawn down funds for the associations, Felix Wilson, he would have drawn down but could not account for the funding in the proper measures that needed to be done, and Dominica is in the situation that it's in. So if he thinks he can do better, and in the situation that we could still get to draw down the funds, then so be it. Yes, caller, welcome to the Sports Connection. Good evening. Yes, Scotty. I am here. Okay, I will tell you what. I will end the Zoom call. So we have less distortion. Go ahead, talk to me again, Scotty. You're breaking up your phone line. Something is wrong with your phone line, so it was not necessarily the Zoom. Yeah, you're breaking up badly. So let me suggest to you, hang up and call back to see if that will change by any way. Yes, Scotty is getting some serious challenges. We have another call on the line. Caller, welcome to the Sports Connection. Good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Yeah, you made some interesting points in terms of anyone on an executive being eligible to go up for one position. But I'm just asking a question. The treasurer's position in the organization is a powerful one. So if as treasurer you cannot influence your executive to take up whatever positive solutions you may have had, why do you think that as president you would be able to influence any executives to carry them out?
Well, caller, I think some executives.
If you're part of the executive, is a team that's working. It's not the president that just signing and drawing down. You part of the executive, all you have executive meetings. The executive decides what should be done. So if as treasurer you cannot influence and bring your ideas forth, why do you think that you have to be president for you to have been involved in organizations for a long time, and I mean,
and you, especially when a democracy is, especially when you have a democracy.
What are your views?
Yeah, but again, some people are suggesting that how it works in the association level and how it works at the DOC level are sometimes different, and in that sometimes the decisions that are being made at the DOC is something that is handed down to the rest of the executive members, as opposed to the executive members meeting to take a decision. And I'm not sure what it is at the DOC, but if it is one where the president and the general secretary makes the decision and hands it down to the rest of the association, then I can understand the perspective that is being shared with Dr. Barry Kazimi. If it is one where, yes, caller, welcome to the Sports Connection. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening again.
Yes, Scotty.
Come not clear now?
Yes, you're much clearer, but it's only a few minutes. It's like seconds, 40 seconds remaining before we come to the end of the, and then we already have Simeon Albert in the house. So basically at the point of last comments.
Well, just to comment on the DOC, because I was saying that in 2015 there was 14 teams brought up allegations against the incumbent president, and there was a controversy, the irregularity in elections and other things. So I don't know in terms of what we are see whether that we should see a new slate of people, because if you have contest coming from Barry and some other people, that maybe it might be a good thing to have a complete new slate of people to run this DOC.
Well, I'll be honest. I believe in democracy, so I don't mind Barry running. But I also think that Billy Doctrove's ability to have this massive building as a legacy of his tenure, it's testament to his ability to manage, for us to have that, in spite of the fact that the DOC is in a controversial issue with, as it relates to reimbursing the Olympic solidarity. But it's testament, and so these individuals in a democracy let the best person win in that case, and as to who they think is best. But I think it's high time that controversies stop the Dominican sporting landscape.
For each one, we have a lot of dormant associations that go on to vote in those elections. Things like handball, boxing, kayaking. These are associations which have they have not been doing the work, and then.
Well, to be fair to them, in the context for the past 2 years, we've been mad with COVID, and so they get a little slap on the wrist. But Scotty, we're here, and we're gonna have to put an end to the program.
Anyway.
All right then.
But I just have to tell you that we have cricket coming up soon, and West is in Pakistan. We were not able to look at the cricket.
All right.
Globally, and we hope that people can go on to watch the games and support the West Indies.
Okay then, Scotty. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blessings, bro. Okay, this was another episode of the Sports Connection. We say thank you to our listeners, those of us who are participating, to all our callers, and those of us who are following and providing your comments on the Facebook Live. We say thank you very much and God bless you guys. Have a good evening.
If you love this show, then call us at 614-3385 to find out ways you can support this program.